Hi, Taurus. It's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology. Today I'm here to discuss the Scorpio Full Moon, and that is happening on May 1st, and it'll be at 10:23 a.m. I have it right here. And that's local time, though, on the West Coast. So it's going to be at 5:23 p.m., or not p.m., but 5:23 Universal Time. So please check for your own time around the world. All right, so Taurus, the full moon is definitely affecting you, right? Because with the full moon, we always have two signs involved, really. So we can see the chart here where the full moon is opposing you from the seventh house of partnerships. This is also the house of where you create harmony and balance in your life. It can be legal matters, opponents, and these partnerships that I'm speaking about can be, business or love, right? Doesn't any type of partnership really. So here we have the sun in your first house, right? It is Taurus season. Happy birthday to any Taurians out there for sure. And here is the sun. And what's happening here is that there's a major change or trying to kind of impose a change on you. And why do I say impose? Because the opposition is already kind of like, look, this needs to come together with this over here. That's always really what it means with an opposition. It's kind of it's a balance that is asking to be made. So the sun is in your first house of self. It has everything to do with, how you behave or how you look even, or what's going on for you, right, in your life and what you're trying to make happen, right? So the sun right now in this season is or during the full moon as well, the lunation, but the sun is right now focused on material subjects or material gain and financial stability, because that's what your sign is concerned with, right? And also self-care, self-worth, and well-being. That is also a Venus theme, right? So we have the sun for you, and yeah, and so this sun in your first house, it's going to address, themes of motivation, right? And it's being opposed by Scorpio, right? Which is, ruled by Mars, but Scorpio is transformation, right? It is definitely transformation. And let's talk about what the Scorpio full moon really means, though, before we continue with your horoscope. And this is going to be for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So, yeah, this is called the flower moon. I'm just not exactly sure why. I'm thinking because it is we're in spring here in the Western hemisphere. So, my bad if, I'm not remembering that exactly, but that doesn't have a lot to do with what we're talking about. No, it doesn't. But the full moon originally it may have, or it may have something, but we have your horoscope here, Taurus. No need to worry about if it's whatever it's called, the actual moon, not really. But the full moon will be deeply transformative, right? As Scorpio is concerned with depth and intensity. Yeah, and the full moon is going to illuminate what lies beneath because Scorpio rules what is hidden as well. It can help us to use our intuition. It can. Scorpio also rules psychic ability and intuition, but it rules what is hidden, right? So, we might be able to understand themes of partnerships better when the full moon happens. Yeah, because it's in that house of relation partnerships, right? Any type, as I was saying. But the full moon is going to illuminate what lies beneath, lifting the veil, really, and emotional honesty. Yes, the full moon will help us release old wounds, to embrace regeneration and transformation, because Scorpio also represents crises, yeah, and fears and things like that, right? And with the full moon will encourage us to balance material comfort. That's where you're at, right, Taurus? That's what the sun is in your sign. So the opposition here, the full moon, is asking us to balance that material comfort with emotional depth and comfort with vulnerability and stability with surrender. So it's kind of saying, don't hang on too hard because transformation is needed. That's what Taurus wants to hold on. I know this for a fact because I'm a Taurus moon. So we like to do things the same way. It's like because we don't like change that much. We like the stability. We like things to stay the same. Taurus is a fixed sign, so that explains a lot. And also, yeah, it's a slower energy. Earth energy is slower energy, but not to say that you can't, reach your goals. Nothing like that, right? It just looks at life with a little, a little bit more of kind of really an outlook coming from stability. I need stability, so I'm going to kind of go slow. I don't want to take big risks, things like that. So the sun is there, right, illuminating that for you, and especially because it's in your first house. Yeah, it's in your sign. So yeah, and so we talked about and also the sun is for you, or the full moon rather, is in that seventh house. uh, yeah, as I was saying, and this will be addressing themes of self-worth and motivation. I mentioned that, but the moon in Scorpio is ruled by Mars, right? And Mars is ruling your 12th house of endings and release. And over here, it is in your seventh house. This is also about not the house, but the sign. It's in this, transformative Scorpio. So Mars really is kind of bringing a great transformation for you, asking you to leave something behind. That's what it's doing. That will serve you, Taurus, serve your how you shine, maybe serve you as regarding your talents. The sun represents the sense of self, right? Your own self identity, but it also is connected to, it rules the fifth house, which is self-expression and creative pursuits. This is your talents, where you shine. So there can be something here that you need to leave behind that's been kind of hindering your your talents, or your, where you shine in this lifetime, right? Even possibly your personal leadership, because the sun does represent leadership. It sure does. Um, mhm. Personal agency, yeah. And so yes, and that Mars is very powerful in its own sign, Aries, it is. And there may be an understanding with Mercury, Taurus, which is also in Aries. And we can see it here if you like to, if you are looking at the chart. I've made it very available, right? I'm over here in a smaller box, of course. But here we have Mercury and Mars together. Mercury is telling Mars what needs to end. That's really what's going on. And Mercury is, let's see what Mercury is doing, though. It is squaring, yeah, Jupiter in your third house of decisions, your third house of thinking, communication, plans and goals, the mental house, right? Um, and based on this is our thoughts. It's also, the third house is also about siblings and extended family, anything that is very familiar to us, the local community or the neighborhood, but or anything you've done so many times that it's completely familiar. But the issue here is that Mars in the 12th house is asking you to see the big picture, and see, it's challenging you to see where you can grow, because Jupiter is, growth and expansion and higher purpose. It's in your third house. So, and there's something here about stagnation. Jupiter wants you to grow, right? It does. In fact, Jupiter will come in and just take you out of wherever you are. I've seen it before where people are not growing, and there's like, no, this can't continue. And even though Jupiter is the great benefic, it wants you to grow. So it will remove you, right? Now, that Mars, that's the challenge here from your 12th to your third. So Mars is also making a trine, though, and this is supporting you in your eighth house of transformation. You see, we have a big theme here. And Lilith, that is being trined by Mars. Lilith is connected to, it is connected or associated with Scorpio. It is. That's Black Moon Lilith, and that is the, excuse me, the shadow side. And we all have one. Yeah, we all have one. And this is the shadow side that we always want to confront. It doesn't have to mean that you're out doing horrible things, or, you just, if, when we want to confront it, we have to kind of embrace it and love ourselves. The sun is in the house of well-being and self-worth, and love ourselves And just, do our best to overcome that, right? Lilith is also wants raw power. It wants to be seen as authentic. It wants to just, unleash itself and step into its own authenticity. It doesn't want to be. And so that's why Lilith sometimes can be associated with kind of, maybe not fitting in or things that we might think are kind of people, if they know it about us, that there's kind of weird or something like that, or it's very personal. It is. It's in your eighth house of transformation, intimate relationships, Taurus, and shared wealth. So we have a wealth theme going on here as well because both Scorpio and Taurus, that is like the wealth axis. It is. And this eighth house that's being trined is also shared wealth, any type of shared wealth. So, and relationships as well. And the moon sits in your seventh house of partnerships, right? This can definitely be business relationships, romantic or whatever. But the trine is there to support you to kind of can face something and just say, well, I don't have to do that anymore, or just face it and see it for what it is and move forward because Jupiter wants you to expand and grow here, Taurus. It sure does, right? Chiron's also in your 12th house. Chiron is helping you to heal or overcome something. It doesn't always have to be a healing, right? It's usually psychological. It usually is, right? Um, so yeah, and yeah, there we go. And Mars is sitting in your 12th house, is asking you to trust your intuition and to act with courage. It is in Aries. Okay, Aries represents courage. It certainly does. So, um, yeah, I think I'm going to leave this right here. Oh, I will mention your ruling planet, though, of course, right? That's important. Let's talk about Venus a little bit. Venus is, let's put you back on the ascendant, Taurus. Oops, it is here. All right, so here you are once again, and Venus is in your second house of finance and self-worth. See, it's a big theme here on those issues, those themes. They're not really issues, they're themes, but Venus is supporting you. It loves to be in the second house because that's really Venus's house. It is. Um, and your natural house. Although in this chart, right, I'm just saying in the natural chart, Venus is your ruler and it's in the second house where it loves to be. For sure. Now Venus is in Gemini here. And so with that happening, your second house of finance and self-worth, maybe you're thinking of new ideas here to earn more money or, is related to your finances. This definitely, though, has something to do with you kind of growing and transforming here. That's what this is. It is for everybody, but for you, it is related to something that you need to step out of, or just don't even kind of give it any time of, don't give it the time of day, right? Venus right here is making a square to the north node of higher purpose, the north node of true potential. It's where we're all trying to go there, right? Even though we don't know it, yeah, or some of us don't know, right? But astrology teaches us that for sure it does. And so with the square is challenging you. It's here next to Uranus. It's challenging you to accept change or let something transform or regenerate yourself in some way. And it is related to, that square is challenging you because first of all, it's conjoined with Uranus, which is, instability, but really creates something better. Uranus is liberating, it's disrupting, but yeah, it wants us to innovate. It wants us to step into our independence, right? And be a little more inventive about our lives. It's kind of like that. And here we have Venus making the square to, yeah, that is good old Venus here. Your Venus making the square to the North Node in your house of not higher, but future aspirations. So, and the North Node is where we're all trying to go. So this is definitely, it's in Pisces. Maybe it's asking you to trust your intuition. It can be asking you to believe in your dreams. Yeah, believe in your dreams. And, with Chiron in your 12th house, don't let this Chiron in Aries can sometimes slow us down as to, unless something is healed or overcome, about what we want to do for ourselves, about, taking action and courage and things like that. So there is definitely a theme here. Yeah, and Venus is, we talked about Venus. So Venus is, but a little bit here, but Venus is also ruling, your first house, but your sixth house of daily affairs. This is the house where we get things done. It's the work, it's the health, where we take care of ourselves, wellness, and, things like that, exercise, the sixth house. But the sixth house is where we need everything that's there. We need health, we need work, or and we need to like manage our lives in some type of an organized way, right? And so that house is the house of practical affairs, daily matters, daily routines, and lifestyle. So Venus is, ruling that house as well. So there's probably something going on here that is, honestly, with all the themes I've been discussing. Yeah, it's a very interesting. We always have to look at the whole picture. We sure do. And Venus is making a not a trine, but there is an in conjunction here. Yeah, this gray line here. So they call that a quincunx. We call that a quincunx in astrology, right? Venus is here making that quincunx to the moon. And the moon is in your seventh house of partnerships, right? But that is an adjustment that needs to be made. And that can be about your business partnerships, right? And any, how you create harmony, but it can also have to do with Scorpio themes, because that's where the moon sits in your seventh house. Scorpio themes of transformation, and the quincunx right here is sometimes it can say there's like a misunderstanding. It's possible here that in some way you're not believing in yourself about something, Taurus. All right, so let the full moon transform. Step into your higher self. Right, this is what we all want to do, right? Yeah. I'm preaching from the choir, right? Of course, but it's looking really good for you here. And then we have Venus. Look at that. There's your natal Venus. It is squaring the south node, and this is like leave the familiar behind, leave the past behind. Just move away from that and move toward this north node. Venus is squaring both the south and the north. The north node is where we want to go for our higher selves, really. It's one version of it, but it's also Venus is making a sextile to to Saturn. And Saturn in your 12th with that Venus there, this is like giving you an opportunity to honestly to kind of commit yourself to something, or but to actually like believe in your intuition. Saturn is in this house of self, and it's also in the 12th house. Trust your intuition, and commit, and have a little bit self-discipline. It's not that you don't, but Saturn is like it's protecting you here. It is saying that you can achieve if you kind of go with the flow of the transformative Scorpio full moon. Okay, thank you so much, Taurus, for joining me here. If you've enjoyed my content, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want a reading with me, check out the description box. I'm approaching the chart in such a great way. It's different, yeah, and a place of really where you can really see your true potential, and you can see it through everything that's happened to you in your life since you were born, family, crises even, right? It'll show you your talents and everything, but the chart is really there to give you the tools to overcome even the smallest things. Yeah, the chart can really help. My natal chart has helped me a lot. It really has. And seeing that you get to see too that things are not your fault. And that's very empowering. Yeah. And it shows you exactly what those things were, or, what happened in your childhood, and just all these kind of things, right? That are have created the person we are today. All right. So thank you so much. If you'd like a reading, check out the description box. Hit the little bell, Taurus, so you're going to be notified of my next upload. And I'll see you in the next video.